American Pie is seemingly known for its four main films headlined by Jim Levinstein and has Steven Stifler antics throughout. However, what many people forget is that there were several spin-off movies which were straight to DVD releases, and today we're going to take a look at The Naked Mile and whether or not this hidden gem is actually a hidden gem. Well, I'll tell you, it's underrated. In my opinion, I think this would be well up there with those main four if it had a bigger budget, because this as a straight to DVD release is very limited and could have been 10 times better. I'm not saying it's a bad film, I think this is a very underrated gem. But imagine if this had a bigger budget, that could have been easily talked about in the same breaths as those that we mentioned. As this spin-off going over Eric and Dwight, the Stiflers, seem to be different kinds of Stiflers that we've seen in the past to Matt and Steven. Steven seemed to be full of energy, and so did Matt, of following this sort of crazy Sean William Scott energy, which is crackhead sort of energy. Don't get me wrong, I think Dwight had a little bit of that, but took it in his own direction. Unlike Eric though, he hadn't lost his virginity and seemed to be just a guy with the Stifler name rather than him embracing that Stifler name, as that weight really carried heavy on him, and he was actively trying to lose his virginity to his girlfriend Tracy, as Tracy weren't really ready yet for that sort of big commitment. And even after they tried to do it and they planned for it, both of them, it failed, and then it was like, oh, it's a sign from God that we shouldn't do it, and then Tracy gives him a get out of jail sort of pass for the weekend, so that he could get this out of his system, so that he could have sex with somebody, come back, and they could work as a relationship. But she immediately regretted it, and he felt like he had a lot more pressure than he did before, because now having that pass, that means that he can go on and shag somebody and then get back with her, and jobs are good, and he can finally live up to that Stifler name. However, that guilty conscience, which a Stifler really doesn't normally have, seems to be playing on his mind, and when he hooks up with Brandy, it seems to be inevitable that he'll eventually sleep with her, but that seems to go out the window, and he seemingly shits the bed after realising that he is in love with somebody else and he's in love with Tracy, and that sex would mean nothing. And along that sort of film, you see Eric go through the mindset of, I'm having a great time, maybe I should do it with Brandy, and then changes his mind at the last minute. It reminds me a lot of how Jim changes his mind in American Pie 2 to leave Nadia and go with Michelle. I think it was a great story, and it just reminded me a lot of why we love these kind of films, because you have that heartwarming moment, then have him travelling back to find Tracy, to then be able to embrace and be able to tell her, look, I didn't take the guilt-free pass, and then they end up having a shag anyways. So he ends up losing his virginity by the end of the film. I think that kind of story was brilliant, very underrated, and also you still had the antics in there. You literally had Eric at the start of the film kill his grandma by having a wank. You literally had the whole Viagra popping, walking around in this party, and having them do a whole Naked Mile with boners. I think that is just American Pie in a nutshell, and still having Eugene Levy, which I was going to miss out just then and nearly forgot about, but it's worth mentioning. Eugene Levy's still carrying it strong, still killing it in terms of being that on-screen character, and I think having those legacy characters still dotted around these spin-off films is what keeps the franchise going, in my personal opinion. But do let us know down in those comments down below, what is your favourite part about The Naked Mile, and is it one of your favourite spin-offs of all time? Do let us know your thoughts down in those comments down below, and to summarise, I think this is a 7.1 out of 10 and a solid film. Do let us know your thoughts down in those comments down below. If you haven't yet seen our Everything Changes series, then you definitely need to check that out, as trust me now, those 20 episodes are some of the best content you will ever see. If you ain't checked those out, and we've got more movie reviews, about 300 now, so get through the catalogue and have a look at those, including our Bandcamp movie review, so check those out right now.